I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is exclusively of the nature of space. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is exclusively of the nature of that which is alone. I am indeed Brahman, which alone is of this exclusive nature. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is simple magnificence. I am indeed Brahman, which does not change into parts. I am indeed Brahman, which transcends all fragmentation. I am indeed Brahman, which has not a speck of mind. I am indeed Brahman, which has no sankalpa or vikalpa. I am indeed Brahman, which has no concept or doubt. I am indeed Brahman, without manifold names. I am indeed Brahman, without any diversified forms. I am indeed the immaculate Supreme Brahman, untouched by an ego. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is the undivided space of consciousness. I am indeed Brahman, which is all and complete. I am indeed Brahman, which has no conditionings like a body. I am indeed Brahman, which is all pervasive and without any parts. I am indeed Brahman, which is a mass of knowledge. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is the substratum of all. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which manifests as all. I am indeed Brahman, which is without any distinguishing characteristics. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is undivided and devoid of all. I am indeed Brahman, without any differentiation as beings. I am indeed Brahman, without any differentiation such as multiplicity. I am indeed Brahman, without any differentiation or effect. I am indeed Brahman, without any differentiation such as all. I am indeed Brahman, without any differentiation such as the Vedas. I am indeed Brahman, without any differentiation such as Brahma and others. I am indeed Brahman, with no differentiation. I am indeed ever the one Supreme Brahman. I am indeed Brahman, which is of the nature of formless knowledge. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is woven into everything. I am indeed Brahman, which is of the nature of knowledge without delusion. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, devoid of liberation or its opposite. I am indeed Brahman, of the nature of undivided knowledge. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, without limitations. I am indeed Brahman, of the nature of knowledge without sorrow. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is self-luminous. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which stands taintless. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is actionless. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman of one nature. I am indeed Brahman, beyond comprehension through anything. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is one without a second. I am indeed the Brahman, which exists always and everywhere. I am indeed Brahman, which is fully all-pervasive. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is all truth. I am indeed Brahman, which is ever changeless. I am indeed Brahman, which has no trace of doubt. I am indeed Supreme Brahman, which is endless and infinite. I am indeed Brahman, without a trace of ego. I am indeed Supreme Brahman, which is pure and without connections. I am indeed Brahman, which is without a trace of happiness or unhappiness. I am indeed Brahman, which is transcendent and beyond attachments. I am indeed Brahman, which has no trace of worldly bondage. I am indeed Brahman, which does not have the pentad of gods such as Brahma and others. I am indeed Brahman, without the pentad of functions. I am indeed Brahman, not touched in the least by delusion. I am indeed Brahman, which is blemishless and exalted. I am indeed Brahman, which glows as the self luminous. I am indeed Brahman, which is the pure space of consciousness. I am indeed Brahman, which has no connection to action. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is only consciousness. I am indeed Brahman, without the taint of ignorance. I am indeed Brahman, which has no actions of ignorance. I am indeed Brahman, without the 5 types of sheaths. I am indeed Brahman, which has nothing as the higher or lower. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, with nothing of even the trivial, and which is alone. I am indeed Brahman, which has no need for any deed. I am indeed Brahman, with no different from knowledge. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is pure and which is the void. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is the root of the universe. I am indeed Supreme Brahman, which transcends everything. I am indeed Supreme Brahman, which pervades everywhere. I am indeed Supreme Brahman, which is ever immaculate. I am indeed Supreme Brahman, which is the essence of all. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which is all sentience. I am indeed the Supreme Brahman, which has absolute freedom. I am indeed Supreme Brahman, which is truth, knowledge, bliss. I am never the body or senses. I am never living beings or the thoughts. I am never the intelligence or the mind. I am never the petty ego. I am never its cause. I am never ignorance. I am never the integral or the discrete. I am never anything possessed of intelligence. I am always, always the undivided Supreme Brahman. I am never the mortal. I am never the child, the youth, or the aged. I am never the small or the big. I am never the one to decay and die. I am never the individual soul or the Lord. I am never the sentient and insentient world. I am ever the I, which stands devoid of anything. I am the Supreme Brahman, the non-dual, indivisionless. I am ever of the nature of Brahman, which is truth. I am ever of the nature of Brahman, which is consciousness. I am ever of the nature of Brahman, which is all good. I am ever of the nature of Brahman, which is that. I am ever of the nature of Brahman, which is pure. I am ever of the nature of Brahman, which is attributeless. I am ever of the nature of Brahman, which is motionless. I am ever of the nature of the Supreme Brahman, which is indivisible. O sage, what avails the description thereof in diverse ways? I am Brahman. Brahman is I, and I am all. This undivided supreme certitude, thus strengthened, is the permanent experience. I have gained by the grace of the Supreme Shiva. There's no doubt about this. Pure, noble self. This is the truth. I say in the name of Shiva. Those who listen to this fitting exposition even once with attention and realize it will become the Supreme.